We are here to help you make healthy food choices. So who are we actually? We are the members of the Student Dietetic Association. I'm Michael, this is Chelsea, Abby, and Tanner. Tanner is going to discuss a few things about us, about what we do in the community and stuff like that.
So TMCC Student Dietetic Association is focused on being involved in the community, educating the fellow students on nutritional advice and awareness, and also just since it's on film, I'm kind of freaked out. But also we are interested in just overall getting experience in our field of dietetics. So we've done some work with the food bank, and our group gets together on a weekly basis and just talks about some opportunities of volunteering and ways we can get out and into our community and better our environment and better what we're eating and what people around us are eating. So send it back to Michael.
Okay. So, rhetorical question. Why do we eat? So, simple enough answer. I'm hungry. Why are we hungry? Because our body needs fuel. And to get fuel, we need nutrients. So, there are 6 classes of nutrients. So we got carbohydrates, lipids, fats and oils, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. So yes, water is technically a nutrient. So for carbohydrates, their purpose is to give you energy, stores glycogen for everything you do or want to do. So they're kind of like small pockets of energy, I guess, for the most part. While in contrast, lipids, so like the fats and oils that you eat, they're more for they're more of a long-term source of energy. So what they do is allow us to store energy for those moments of fight or flight. So we got to decide if you're going to run from something or stand and fight. So proteins, probably you're familiar with some of them. So like there are amino acids. They serve as structures for muscle tissue, immune health, probably in this head, and many other things. And then vitamins and minerals. These kind of do the same things for the most part. They have many roles and assist in the various activities in our bodies, such as regulation of blood pressure, fighting inflammation, and things like that. And then finally, water, which is one of the most important things because we actually need it to help balance our bodies out. So you need to replenish your body's amount of water every day, because even if you have like 1% to 2% loss of water during the day, you can actually feel very run down. So, and if you have like a 10% loss, you feel just completely out of whack. So you need to replenish yourselves. All right. So some more science. So you guys have all heard of calories. So the way it's measured is in kilocalories, so kcals. So lipids, like the fats, give us the most kcals. Alcohol actually gives us 7 kcals, but it's almost considered a empty calorie. And if you drink too much, it actually tricks your body into thinking that you should be burning off all this energy. So, which leads to you feeling really bad in the morning if you drank too much without replenishing water. So that leads back into the whole water thing. So, and other than that, you have carbohydrates, which give 4 kcals, and then proteins, which also give 4 kcals. So there's the energy. So awesome. You have a reason to put food in your body. So why should we avoid, eating junk food and stuff like that? Because sometimes you can give yourself more bad stuff in your body than you should, hence the alcohol thing. So to avoid stress eating, be mindful of your food choices. Don't reach for that bag of Doritos when you're not really hungry. So take time to eat. Pick out a specific time of day that you want to eat. Don't just eat and go. I know it's kind of hectic to do so, to actually make healthy food choices on the go, but you need to take a moment to, plan out your meals a little bit so you'll be fine. Be physically active to decrease stress. Obviously, you've seen things where people are doing yoga, which I have on the next slide, to help you get back into a mind state. So basically getting up, walking around, not being in front of the computer, helps you actually be less stressed. And then finally, stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, which I keep saying, so you don't have to resort to mainlining caffeine like that gentleman's doing. So, and essentially, just as far as the avoid stress eating thing goes in again, a lot of people just eat to eat. Don't live to eat to live. So, And then once more, a little bit more about the stress. So physical activity is known to improve the mood, decrease stress, and improve self-esteem. I know I feel really great while I go running, even though it's terrible during it because you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. But at the end, you have such an endorphin high. So that's, that's one good byproduct of actually exercising. And also, I guess, looking peaceful, like that lady's doing. So, and a little bit more about it. Physical activity requires the use of calories for energy. So, going back into you actually need calories to put into your body. So, they actually at least drive activity. So, at least for 30 minutes you should spend exercising a day. And this doesn't mean you need to be doing downward dog or doing any type of sit-ups or crunches or running marathons. It just means walking around, being active, getting your heart rate going. Invest in maybe like a Fitbit or something like that, because it actually motivates you, like, oh, I haven't fulfilled my daily goal. So it's a way of being accountable to yourself if you have no one else to be accountable to. So, and going back to it, don't starve yourself or have a restrictive diet or a too restrictive diet. Do something where you're getting the right foods into your body, but you're not restricting yourself of everything. It's a good balance and moderation. So, yeah. And then finally, a little more science. Fuels that support the activities that we do. So glucose comes from carbohydrates, so whole grains and fruit. You'll find fruit is a product for a lot of things that get our bodies going. So fatty acids, obviously from fat, so avocados, chocolate, fish. I love avocados. You can do like so many things with it. It's such a versatile type of food. And then amino acids is just protein for building muscle, which is also has fruit in it. And then that's it for that. So I'll hand it off to Abby, and she will discuss helpful eating tips.
Hello. So like you said, I'm going to go over some eating tips for you. So first, we're going to learn to shop for healthy foods. And this includes going over supposedly healthy foods in the grocery store, like Lean Cuisines, for example, in the TV dinner aisle. It says it's all healthy and stuff, and then you look on the back, and it's like a paragraph of ingredients of who knows what. So it's just figuring out what is actually healthy for you and what you're putting into your body. Eat more fresh, non-processed foods. So there's this sort of rule that I've learned where if you go into the grocery store to shop on the outside first, or for the most part, because you go through, there's your produce, your meats, your dairy, and your breads. So if you do most of your shopping there, by the time you get to the middle, which is all the processed foods and all the treats and sugary waters and stuff like that, you'll already have your cart filled and you won't feel the need to. Let's see, don't shop when you're hungry. So when you're hungry, you want energy. Your body wants energy. And the fastest way to get that energy is usually through fats and sugars. And that's in the middle area of the grocery store, like I was saying. So when you're hungry, I'm sure you've all shopped like before. When you're hungry, you tend to crave all those good sugary treats, the stuff that tastes good. But if you plan your way around it, then that way you'll make better choices when you have a clear head and things. Keep high-calorie foods out of your home. That's the same idea as not shopping when you're hungry. If you have the option, especially after a long, busy day, you go home, you're not up to making dinner, so you reach for like a bag of microwave popcorn, for example, and to just munch on and just eat that night. So if you don't have it in your house, then you won't have the option to. Limit the times and placing of eating. So limiting the times is stuff like snacking all day. Like I was saying, with a busy schedule, sometimes it's easier just to snack all day. And there are such things as healthy snacks, but most of the time it's vending machine type deals, and that's always not the healthiest for you. So if you're actually completing the 3 meals a day, balanced meals, then you'll actually be more full, longer, and you won't feel the need to go and snack on those treats. And limiting the places of eating, that is kind of like social eating. I know my family has a problem with it, where they think the only time we can get together is during like breakfast or lunch. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, you can eat healthy at restaurants. It's just a lot harder when you have those really good choices like grilled cheese and burgers, and then maybe a couple salads if you're lucky, depending on the restaurant you go to. So this is what you want to choose more of. So we're going to go through healthy fats, which, like he was saying, avocados, fruits, apricots, water, lean meats or fish, protein like chicken, whole grains, beans and legumes, vegetables, especially the green leafy kind, and low-fat dairy products, preferably like plain, just so you can control the amount of sugar and what you're putting into it. And what you want to choose less of is saturated fats, sugary treats like ice cream, processed foods, red meats and other fatty meats, greasy and fried foods, and of course sugar waters, especially if one of your goals is trying to cut down on calories. Easiest way is just to not drink your calories. The challenge, of course, is eating 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. So you don't want to beat yourself up about it. Just kind of try and go down the middle, like 4 vegetables, 4 fruits, give or take. And you want to eat the rainbow, preferably. Just because, especially if you're trying to eat healthy for the first time, maybe, then lots of people tend to go to the same staple vegetables and fruits. And that's not a bad thing, but eventually you might get tired of them. So if you're broadening your range of flavors, your palate will be more entertained, and you'll be less likely to fall back. So what 9 a day looks like. I know the serving sizes can be a little bit confusing, like you don't know where you're at with them or how far away you are from 9 a day. So usually somebody's pretty good at guessing what a serving size is. A cup of orange juice, 1 serving, 1 banana, 1 serving, or these 2 salad type vegetables. If you were to like take them apart and group them into 2 handfuls, they'd be 2 servings. So you have 2 handfuls of vegetables. And those berries down there, 1 cup of berries, about 1 serving. And now Chelsea's going to take over.
Alrighty. So in your diet, we're going to want to choose more of your whole grains, like Abby was talking about, instead of refined products that are going to be like your white bread, your rice, or your flour products. We're going to want to choose more legumes. So that's going to be any kind of beans, so black beans, pinto beans, garbanzo beans, any of those are really great options. Also, we want to choose vegetables and fruits, our low-fat dairy products, lean meats and poultry. And then also trying to stay away from the cakes, the cookies, and foods that are high in saturated fats and trans fats. So that's going to kind of lead us into the MyPlate. The MyPlate has replaced the food pyramid that we all know so well. And we're just going to watch a quick little clip about what the MyPlate is kind of all about. So we're going to get that going here for you.
Welcome to the ACI Wellness Workshop. Today we'll be talking about the latest dietary methods used to promote healthy eating habits called Choose My Plate. Choose My Plate illustrates the 5 food groups needed to provide the necessary building blocks for healthy eating. These include fruits, vegetables, grains, protein-rich foods, and low-fat dairy. Fruits and vegetables should account for just over half of the food on your plate, with vegetables making up the slightly larger portion. Vegetables include everything from eggplant, broccoli, and bell peppers to spinach, lettuce, and squash. The best rule for choosing which vegetables to eat is simple. Boost variety and eat as many colors as possible. This ensures that the body receives the optimal amount of vital nutrients, vitamins, and antioxidants. When preparing vegetables, try and eat them lightly grilled or raw if possible. Oversteaming vegetables is a common mistake and causes the vegetables to lose most of their nutrients. With fruits, it's important to boost the variety and diversify the colors as well. They are an excellent standalone option to eat raw or cut up in a fruit salad, and they also act as an excellent complement to sweeten up a salad or entree. Brightly colored fruits such as raspberries and blueberries are also very high in antioxidants that work to inhibit the development of heart disease and certain types of cancer. Next, we have the grain portion of the Choose My Plate model. Grains are an important part of the healthy diet as they supply complex carbohydrates and contain a significant amount of fiber with little fat and no cholesterol. Grains should make up about a quarter of your plate and are found in everything from bread and cereal to pasta and oatmeal. When we think of grains, we usually think of wheat or rice, but options like quinoa, millet, and rolled oats make for even healthier options. With all grains, it's a good rule of thumb to choose whole grains rather than refined or processed grains to make sure the body gets the most nutrients possible. Protein foods will account for the rest of the plate. This includes anything made from meat, poultry, seafood, beans, eggs, processed soy products, nuts, and seeds. From this group, it's better to choose lean or low-fat choices like chicken, fish, and other seafood to ensure minimal intake of cholesterol and saturated fat that often leads to later health issues. The final and smallest portion of the Choose My Plate dietary method is the dairy portion. This includes all fluid milk products and foods that are made from milk like low-fat cheese and yogurt that retain calcium content as well as calcium-fortified soy milk. This does not include foods made from milk with little to no calcium such as butter, cream, and cream cheese. It is important to try and eat around 1 cup per meal of low-fat dairy, which is equivalent to 1 8-ounce glass of milk, 1 regular container of low-fat yogurt, or 1.5 ounces of hard cheese, to ensure the optimal health benefits. With the new Choose My Plate dietary guidelines, the delectable possibilities for nutritious meals are endless. Take what you've learned today and stock that fridge full of the best foods that your body needs.
All right. So this website, the choosemyplate.gov, is really great. It has all kinds of helpful tips for staying on track with staying along the My Plate guidelines. So the thing that I love most about this is the Super Tracker. So the Super Tracker, you can go in, you can make your profile, you can input all the foods that you eat in a day, and you can put in your exercise, and it's going to tell you if you have too high of sodium, if you're eating too much sugar, if you're low in certain vitamins or minerals, maybe you're not getting enough exercise. It's going to really help you kind of stay on track and be a tool that you can use to get healthy. It also has a lot of great recipes and different ways to kind of change up your diet if you're getting bored with the foods that you're eating. So this is awesome. So it's on the choosemyplate.gov website, and it's called the Super Tracker. So if you guys want, you can go on when you get home and make your own profile and kind of check it out. It's really fun. I really like that tool. Yes?
Does that website recognize Oriental foods or?
Yeah, they're actually really great about kind of making all kinds of different options for you. So you're going to have a lot more variety, because people, when they think that you're eating healthy, they think boring, right? So they have tons of great options for spicing things up, like if you like spicy foods, using different herbs and spices and sauces instead of maybe more of like less of the fats and butters and things like that. So we're also going to check out a study that was recently done. We're going to pull that up.
The key word for today is moderation.
So there's a study that was done that only 2.7% of Americans are meeting the criteria for a healthy lifestyle. So the My Plate is definitely going to help, I think, in that area. And then I'm also going to go into the dietary guidelines that were just released for the 2015 to 2020. So it's basically the same thing that the My Plate is going off of. They're suggesting that you're eating more fruits and vegetables, you're eating your dairy products that are your low-fat dairy products, your whole grains, getting your good oils, so your good fats, and your protein. So trying to limit red meat, that kind of thing, keeping your cholesterol levels low. They also really want to make sure that you're limiting your sodium intake, the added sugars in your diet, and any of your saturated fats and trans fats that might be in your diet. So that's going to help hopefully bump that number from 2.7% to a much higher level. All right, and then Tanner's going to take it from here.
All right, so it's very important to know your limits when consuming sugars, fats. It's important to consume less than 10% of calories a day from added sugars. So if you have a 2,000 calorie diet, that's 200 calories in sugar. Less than 10% of calories a day from saturated fats is also important. Consume less than 2,300 milligrams per day of sodium. And if alcohol is consumed, 1 drink for women and 2 drinks for men daily is recommended. Overall, keeping these to a limit will decrease your risk of heart attack, diabetes, cancer. Really, any ailments can be at the root found that sugar and fats in excess cause these problems. So trans fats equal hydrogenated oils. We've all know avoid hydrogenated oils, avoid trans fats. Just a little bit about hydrogenated oils is they're created through a process called hydrogenation. It's where you bombard an oil's fat molecules with hydrogen atoms, and that prolongs the shelf life. It turns it into a solid, the oil into a solid brick at room temperature. And it's commonly used in baked products, anything you'll find in the middle of the aisles, as Abby was mentioning. Twinkies, Hostesses, crackers, anything that's going to be prolonged life on the shelf oftentimes has hydrogenated vegetable oils or partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. So a lot of the foods that we consume on a daily basis have these in them, but it's important to avoid them at all costs when our lives are dependent on it. When the hydrogenation happens, it creates trans fats, and our bodies have a really hard time assimilating trans fats. The enzymes can't recognize them as opposed to cis, but that's getting into some of the biology of it. It's mostly important to avoid them. There's also natural trans fats. These natural trans fats come in the form of milk and a lot of meat products, steak, and these are not harmful to the body, as many studies have shown. Our bodies can handle having natural fats from meat and steak and milk products. So there's no need to be alarmed if you're having a product that might include hydrogenated oils. Hydrogenated fats raise your bad cholesterol and they lower your good cholesterol. So if you're monitoring your cholesterol, it's overall just a good idea to cut them out altogether. This will decrease your risk of heart disease, inflammation, cancer, diabetes, and all above. So we already talked about it, but moderate your sugar intake. Use less added sugar. Limit soft drinks, sugary cereals, your candy intake. And a great alternative that's sweet and will satisfy those cravings is fresh fruit. And reading food labels. Again, we can go back into the talk about hydrogenated fats. If there's less than 0.5 grams of hydrogenated fats in a food, it won't be listed on the food labeling. So if you're eating 2 servings of something with less than 0.5 grams, you could be eating almost up to a gram of hydrogenated fats without even knowing. And a lot of times they'll say less than 0 or less than 0.5, but it's very important that to read the labels and read the ingredients of the foods, so you can look for partially hydrogenated oils to really recognize if there's going to be any of that present in the food. Mostly processed foods. Most children don't get enough vitamin A, C, iron, and calcium. So you can always look on the food labeling, and as you can see right down here, it'll have percentages of each different type of nutrient and mineral that's present in the foods. If you have children, you can look for those nutrients and specifically give them to your kids, or find the ones that your kids like to get them in their diet more efficiently. The thing to look out for with food labeling is that serving sizes are often manipulated to appear healthier. So we should need to watch out for one muffin could be 4 servings, yet it says 1 serving is 100 calories. And so watching out for this labeling and being aware of what we're consuming and how much will really help to increase our overall health. A few ingredients that will be on the ingredient list of foods, mostly processed foods, that we really should avoid are, of course, hydrogenated oils, concentrates. That will be high fructose syrup, concentrated fruit juices, dyes, aspartame, sodium nitrate, which is used as a preservative in a lot of meats, caramel coloring. We don't want to go into a lot of the details about these because there's a lot of processing involved. Castoreum, hydrolyzed veggie protein, and that's also found in MSG. So just a few things to be aware of. If you see a lot of ingredients in your foods, it might be worthwhile to go and take a second look, do some research of your own, because we need to be aware of what we're putting in our bodies. And any questions for you guys today?
I
Yes.
have a question about trans fat and hydrogenated oil. So you mentioned when oil goes through the process, it becomes solidified at room temperature. I've read a lot of things about coconut oil. And is coconut oil really healthy for you, or is it a good substitute? What are your thoughts on coconut oil?
I've heard a lot about coconut oil, and it's a saturated fat, which is a lot. It's, of course, you want to keep it at a minimum in your diet, because it could be a problem just because of the overall fat content of it. But there's a lot of research that could be done, and I would just recommend keeping it at a minimum in your diet.
People tend to use it as an
Yeah, do
alternative
you guys have
to
any?
the olive oil and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I know I use it occasionally, like in popcorn and stuff like that. But just like anything else, just a little bit of moderation it will go a long way. And you can probably, like, instead of using coconut oil, you can just use like vegetable broth or like chicken stock to get the similar oils and everything in it. So, and you're not getting any added saturated fat or trans fat from it.
So sugars, I want to make sure I got this slide correct. So 10% of daily intake from added sugars. That's not counting the stuff that's already in the fruits and the vegetables and the other stuff that I should be consuming. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what I really have to count then, is the added sugar.
Added sugars,
Yeah,
high
'cause-
fructose corn syrups. Mostly processed foods will have these types of sugars that should be monitored.
Yeah, or think about like your Starbucks coffees, right? Where you're getting
That's
carbon
right, okay.
sugars and things like that. And that's a lot of that.
Right.
Yeah, your fruits already have natural sugars in them, so most of the time they're not counted or at all, as
Okay.
opposed to like the sugar calories you get from all the syrups and stuff like that. That's what you need to be totally concerned about.
There's some really fun sugar examples too up here if you want to check them out. Just how much sugar is in certain products that we all have in our household.
This is a bottle of Coke. It's a lot of sugar.
How many calories from sugar are in the Coke? Like, is it all the calories in a Coke is from sugar, basically?
That's a good question. I can imagine primarily. Yeah.
So basically, like 140 calories per serving. So if you drink one Coke, you're almost at your 10% target.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
Oh,
That's in one soda.
That's a great way.
Do you guys want to check this out?
Another fun fact is that one 20-ounce soda is the same as eating a large cinnamon roll. Same amount of sugar. So things to be aware of. Yeah, me too.
So just like anything, just moderation is key.
Any other questions?
So as far as families, and I've heard this, it's like I can't afford to eat healthy. Can they up their grains? I mean, do stuff that's more pound for the dollar sort of stuff? I mean, how does a family do this or not?
I mean, if you're going to the grocery store, I know like you can buy a big bag of like the whole grain brown rice that's not cooked yet, and it's only $1. Like, it's not very much. You could probably feed a family of 4 twice with a bag of that rice, and then you can get frozen vegetables are a great option. They have tons of nutrient retention, so you're not losing any of those nutrients, and they last for a really long time. So you're not gonna have to worry about not using them, having food waste, and those are only a couple dollars. Fish is really pretty inexpensive. I know, like for me and my husband, we eat like white fish, and it's probably $3 for 2 like fillets of fish. So it's hard. It seems like it's hard, but I feel like if you kind of start checking out different things, I almost think it's cheaper to eat healthier.
And there's people who say like in the long term it's cheaper because you're like investing in your health. So if you invest in your health now, then later on you're not going to have those health problems, which leads to like medical costs. If you want to think in the long term like that, it's hard to, but
So frozen veggies and fruits are good for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they retain all their nutrients, or at least most of their nutrients, as opposed to when you're like steaming like fresh stuff or all that type of stuff.
Well, and it's hard when you buy fresh produce. You don't know that it's in the thing, and then you're like, oh, I need to go eat that broccoli, and then the broccoli's gone bad, and you're like, well, I just wasted all that money. But if you buy them frozen, you can have them in your freezer, and they're a really quick option. You just throw them in the microwave, you make your rice, you throw a piece of fish or some chicken on the grill, and you got a pretty quick dinner instead of, going through a fast food place or trying to get something on the go, because we're all so busy. It's really hard to make time for things, but they have really convenient ways to try and eat better. Like they make, not really sure of the brand, but it's a whole grain rice that you could put in the microwave. It has like 10 milligrams of sodium, it's whole grain, and it takes 60 seconds in the microwave. And you throw that in the microwave, throw some veggies in the microwave, and you're good to go for most of it.
So microwaving it would be better than transheating.
It's just faster. I mean, if you have the time, I feel it's definitely preference. People have harsh feelings against microwaves too, but
Do you know any ways of making like healthier sauces for foods, or any websites that have recipes for them?
so that My Plate, they have tons of really great recipes that are on there.
For Alfredo sauce?
Mashed Mary Alfredo sauce.
I don't know about that one. They might. You'd be surprised.
You probably do get like low-fat cheeses if you work on that type of sauce. Like, and as I was mentioning before with the oils, instead of using the olive oil and stuff like that, use just like the broth as the oil instead, and more spices and stuff like that to help it out.
And just being aware of what you're buying. Like if you go buy a can of Alfredo sauce, like look on the label and look at how much sodium is in it, look at how much fat is in it, and then say, could I make this on my own without it? Or like use other products that you know what's going into it, right? It's really easy just to like open a can. I don't know how to cook, so that's easy for me. But then you look at the box and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah.
But then maybe you could go on Pinterest or whatever, know exactly what you're putting in those ingredients, or using fresh produce. Like we had, in our class, we had a chef that's also a dietitian. He made this awesome sauce out of all vegetables. And it was so good you could do it for spaghetti or just put chicken in there, and it was all vegetables, all like fresh herbs and spices. It was really inexpensive and it tasted awesome.
And then you can freeze that in batches as well, so you don't have to run to the store to get sauce or whatever. Because you can just pull it out, thaw it during the day while you're at work or whatever, and have it ready for your meal and put it over your whole wheat pasta or what have you. So.
I think my problem is when we go grocery shopping, we like to get the different colors of the rainbow too, because we know about that one for a while. But using them, because you can buy a whole head of broccoli, but you only really need half, or you buy a ton of cilantro, but you only need a couple of these.
Right.
And so using them for different meals, I think, is the hardest thing.
It definitely is.
And then making it easier, because I've also heard the less ingredients you use, the healthier it is for you. Is that true?
It just depends on the ingredients that you're using. I mean, if you've got onions and garlic and mushrooms and tomatoes, and that's all your ingredients, like that's kind of a lot. But those are all not like fresh produce.
Yeah.
Instead of butter and this oil and this spice and herbs and spices, they don't have any kind of added sodium. Or if you make sure you're buying, like there's some of them that have added like salt in them, but most of them are just the herb or the spice. So.
Yeah, and I think I have a hard time with making it last for different meals.
Right.
Just
It's definitely not, it's challenging, but it's definitely worth it. And Pinterest is awesome. You can go on there, they have all kinds of ingredients, as long as you know like what they're putting in there and you're like, oh, that might be a bad option. But they have all kinds of fun things. And the Choose My Plate is a really, really helpful resource also.